Really great day. I have to say I really enjoyed it myself. Connor is our chairman. He's going to say a few words. I didn't give him much notice. It was funny. I walked out of the hall earlier on and I said, Connor, what do you think of the keynote? Did I do okay? And he said, I don't like your shoes. That's the kind of guy Connor is. He's the typical hoodie-wearing chairman. As you can see, they also asked him if he would shave, and he said no. But those without sin cast the first stone, I suppose.
So I won't keep everyone long. They send the big lad with the hoodie up to tell you we're going to the pub in 10 or 15 minutes, so we're almost there. So firstly, thank you for everyone for coming along. To Gavin and Mark, thank you from everyone in Learnosity. I'm a non-executive member of the board, trying to keep the lads on the rails. Can you imagine what that job is like? I did say to Twitter, it was my second ever tweet about Gavin's white shoes, which I thought were an actual fucking disgrace, but we'll come back to that. So look, to all of you, to customers, partners,
could have been white jeans.
Thanks be to God, seriously. Knock off the last 20 pounds and we're there. But to all of the customers and partners, we are incredibly serious about the journey we're on as a company in terms of building out that commitment to the edtech space. While we kind of joke around and appear like the lads dragged through the hedge to actually get here, it is something that we take incredibly seriously. And it is a privilege to have people so committed to come along, spend their time, and to build these partnerships and these relationships with us. So that is appreciated. To Jen, Rachel, Saoirse, James, Andy, when you do the thank yous, you're bound to leave someone out. So to those
Jordan,
Rich, those two, yeah, and those two. It's free drinks for Rich. So thank you to everyone internally for us, while the company's 10 years old, and I've worked with the two lads for 6 or 7 years, this is a huge milestone. And we're incredibly proud of what actually got achieved today. So thank you for coming. Thank you to everyone who did the hard work. And now we're going to have some very interesting Q&A, which I think Mark will host. So thank you.
Was there any spot prizes left? Do anybody know? No. Okay, so we have a few questions along the way. They've been on the postcards, and we'll see if we've time at the end to do a few more. Mark?
So information on Learnosity, LTI. Let's just quickly answer some of these. So we moved through. So yes, it basically launches the whole activity. You can decide and set up an activity, and it will launch the whole thing. You can pass configuration to it. The scores do get sent back to the host LMS. They'll get sent back basically in the standard process for that, and it's LTI 1.1. So any further questions, happy to talk in more detail, but yeah, and we're continuing to improve and push beyond and make sure it can do everything we want to do. Phil, okay. Audio in Safari for iOS. Something that is, where is Phil? Is he here? Yeah, there, right. Very close to my heart. Been following it. I don't know if you saw some of the other talks. It's one of those things we've been following for about 5 years. Some good news is I saw a whole lot of commits on it in the WebKit branch, so it may end up coming in shortly, but I've been holding my breath for about 3 years on this. So there's no commitment I can give, but there's some promising signs from Apple that they are integrating it in, so which will solve it on Safari, on Mac, and obviously I'm hoping they follow the whole way through and that will solve it on iOS as well. So it's possible to get around that on iOS if you build a native app. We've done a proof of concept of that. We can do it if it's a real absolute need, but it's obviously harder to do and a little bit more effort.
We do have more spot prizes so Phil, that's for you. That one airs for you.
Bring that down.
Amanda, what is the roadmap for rubrics? Sharmo might be able to answer this one. You want to come over? I'll give you a mic. Come on.
Phil Donahue. Rubrics, we need to do some more analysis. Rubrics is a little bit tricky. We're seeing people want to break down a score into multiple pieces, maybe 10's the total score, but they want to break it down into parts. For us, it's also the authoring piece, so to making it easier for authors to create rubrics. But that's only one part of the problem. After you do that, you need to put it in front of a grader with a student response, a constructor response, to actually do the grading. So that will likely go into the reports API. So there's a couple of different pieces there. I was talking to someone a minute ago on this. And we want to continue doing that to tease out what you guys want from rubrics. So it's certainly not going to come in the next couple of months, but what we're doing is we're in that first stage. We're talking, we're asking questions, and we're seeing exactly what you want. So in the next few months, we'll know a lot more about what we're doing and when.
Cool. Okay, where's Amanda? Okay.
You get a prize too.
I should have changed the slide there. There you go. Thank you.
Jan, how are data tables randomized? This is part of the data-driven questions.
So very explicitly, we get a UUID, we pass it through a CRC 32-bit checksum, and then we pass that checksum as a seed to a Mazen Twister random number generator. So that's our random.
So the answer is yeah, it's really easy.
You can explain it to me in English later on as well. We did say it was a developer conference. Susie, we'd love a Learnosity user forum or community space. Share ideas, questions, and solutions. Have you considered one? Yes. No. Look, this day is part of that this idea of a community of Learnosity people, Learnosity customers, advocates and so on. That's certainly part. This day is we started user groups, roundtables, we call them, yesterday and tomorrow, and that's kind of part of the physical way of doing that. There's a few things there, whether we use something like user voice or AHA, or one of those things where you kind of vote features. I've a little fear about that, about kind of Homer Simpson's car and people being stupid, but a person being very
intelligent. There's other things we've spoken about over the years around creating, user forum for sharing solutions, helping you support each other and get to solutions better. So I suppose the show of hands of people who'd be interested in that would be interesting. Okay,
Dennis, I think you have a new job.
the time might be like it's as part of this. We'd kind of looked at it. Dennis has been pushing for a few years. I'm like, we need to have the right numbers of people. We need to have a certain critical mass. I think we're possibly there. So,
knowledge base. It does make a lot of sense, but we obviously needed a critical mass before that would happen. So there you go.
Cool. Where's Susie?
Peace.
There.
You get a prize. There you go. Okay, anonymous. I don't think this was planted. Actually, this was asked during the day. Is it on next year? Yes, it is. I think it's been a resounding success, and it's been really great. How do we get to speak next year? Speak to any of us. The best bits today were you guys speaking, so we'd love to do more kind of co-hosted sessions, more kind of deep dives with your own developers and so on. Are you going to have a bigger venue? I think we're going to have to. The fire marshal will be in if we don't. So yeah, we will do that. We'll consider all sorts of options around that, whether it's 2 days, bigger venues, and so on. So it'll be great. Susie again. ARIA labels generation for complex math and chemistry equations can often require editing. Is this being researched? Jeff.
Where are you, Jeff?
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, so right now area labels are generated, they're plain text generated from the full expression that's in the authored value. So there's a couple things missing. One is rendering the student value as text, and also being able to edit the sub-expressions, subparts. So once we move to MathQuil, we get some of that for free, or at least it gets easier because MathQuil generates a DOM tree. So we have a tree structure that we can associate area labels to in the sub-expressions. So, and those would just be carried along with the math as it goes.
As well. Related to kind of how we do everything, it's iterative. We put it out there, and one of the reasons we made it editable was, frankly, we knew there was going to be places where it's wrong. And sometimes it's not because we couldn't do it all, it's because sometimes it's ambiguous. The same thing can mean two different things. You might want to read it a different way. And we also wanted to enable it where we knew we were focusing on this in English first. Down the track, I see us dealing with it in multiple languages. But I also want people to be able to not be held back and push forward on that. So a piece we're also looking at is whether we capture when it's edited and put that into basically a feedback loop. So we're seeing and we're understanding why things are being changed. So like our view is the author is always right and can override it. So yeah, expect it to continue getting better. And we're already internally seeing a lot of things where we're iterating and getting better on that.
Have your customers that are experts in K6 content found any problems with children using your UI elements or controls? So this is one for Dennis to tackle.
And while I'd say yes to this, I'd talk to one Learnosity working out of the box. I believe from some of the customization talks Michael and others gave this morning, we talk about really trying to work out of the box well. But out of the box is just that, it's a starting point. So our customization stories, I can look around the room and I know a few faces here that have gone on great journeys, layering on top of Learnosity. And I know this morning Erica in Big Ideas showed some stuff that they're planning. And others have already gone to market with layers of customization for those particular areas. So we'll do our best and we continue to want to get your feedback, but no, it shouldn't work perfectly for K-12 or K-6 rather, out of the box in certain content areas. But the customization journey there is the best way to get the most out of it.
Yeah. And that's mostly because it's for those levels, it's simplify, turn off controls more so than anything. It's design, like the initial one would be at I suppose year 6 and above or year 4, depending on the students. So just, you can turn it off and make it super successful. And we have multiple customers who've done it. So we might be able to put you in touch with people afterwards and see.
Amanda, is dynamic content generation, go ahead, Mark.
Dynamic content generation, are we able to dynamically generate distractors on multiple choice questions? I think what specifically, we might need to get a bit more detail around that. So is that kind of just having a big long list and automatically inserting those as answers? Is that the kind of thing you're thinking?
In the examples that we were looking at, and then when I was looking online in the documentation, it looks like you dynamically generate, or you provide values for the questions themselves, but then you still have to author manually the distractors, correct, for multiple choice?
Yes, at this stage. You can, in a spreadsheet, fill those in as full values as well. And
you can?
generate that, yes.
Okay.
You can pop in all of those answers.
Okay,
there.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, and
Great.
there's actually some stuff we've done around math where we kind of create a few little builders for that as well. And so we might consider layering that on top again of our building block layer. We kind of build the core foundation really strong and then add layers on top. So that you can watch that space. We can add some more on it.
Sounds great.
Cool. Does your math engine support calculus?
This is one for Claire, I think.
Yeah.
So the short answer is yes, but there's a but. That might be for basic calculus. I can't guarantee everything would work. It would depend on how advanced the math was. So who was that? Is it anonymous?
Yeah,
Anonymous. Sorry. Yeah, if there's samples you want me to check if we can, what we use with our math core engine, send them on to us and we'll take a look. Thank you.
And there's a partnership story around that as well. We do have GeoGebra, we have Desmos, and we're adding a lot of more power because of those partnerships as well to kind of tackle those bigger areas. Will the tagging features and activity builder currently available on the author site be coming to the author API? And the simple answer, yes. Yes, they will. The author API just uses some of the same tech, and we will flow them in.
Can you have more than one dynamic content question in an assessment? Absolutely. You can have as many as you like. They behave as a standard question, so you can layer them in anywhere you're using that.
Can we create our own tag hierarchies? Yes, absolutely.
Here's a question. And just before Gav answers that, I think there's a related question.
God, seriously. Oh my God. I leave you alone with a PowerPoint for 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't know how that. That's a 2-part question. Go ahead.
So, actually, well, we could open the floor. Well, there's one more key question. We could open the floor. So, this was...
We did say it was a developer conference. There's some code that tells us we need to go to the pub.
So we're making fantastic time here.
Any questions from the floor? Take a couple of those before we finish up.
Thank you. Are simple authoring and the activity builder going to be connected?
Absolutely, yes. So yeah, they're separate components, but they will absolutely work together as building blocks. You'll be able to configure. So in the activity builder, we have the workflow of linking items, but the second one of creating items, we'll just be able to define the template to say, use the really simple ones, or use custom templates that you've defined. So that will absolutely work the whole way through.
More questions? Okay, the mic.
Those white shoes are pretty fast.
Are you ever going to make available a status page for your API?
Potentially, yes. So we've looked at that. We'll consider looking at it. It's really communication problems around that. It doesn't actually always help in any way. So I know, has anyone used the AWS status page? So it's bizarrely one of those fundamentally hard problems to solve. So it can be as much misleading as not. So we consider looking at it, and we get the right way to do it. We will absolutely do it. So.
Final question, not about my shoes. Oh, whose code is that?
Anyone lost a code?
No. When the drinks start, they start now. So apparently we're supposed to be out of this venue 15 minutes ago. So we better go. But we are going to walk down to the Playwright, which appropriately is an Irish bar 4 blocks from here. So we're going to out, take a left and left and left. And I will see you all down there in a few minutes.
Yeah, please come follow us down. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.